Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Just about.
All right. Fine.
Go do your job.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome back to Astro.
So like everyone here has like plays their part where we're like doing stuff, but that's like Matt is on hitting the button to hit the timer, but like, sometimes he'll be on his phone. I was like, shit.
We can't start until he hits the button.
What's the game of interest you have on your phone for this session, Matt?
Duel Links.
Duel Links? Are you back to Duel Links? Are you finished Pokemon already?
No.
Yeah. Well, no, but yeah.
Ellie was like, you never finished Pokemon.
you never finish Pokemon.
You're right, because I barely play Pokemon.
You don't finish. You just do a little
Nice
bit
one,
every
Tex.
time.
When did you stop playing Pokemon, Elliot? Or did you ever really like get into it? Now that I'm thinking about it,
I didn't heavily get into it, but I was into it for a time.
Where did you start?
Blue actually.
Oh, so you started Gen 1. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was with you on that.
I mean, were you? Because you were like when I first started playing Pokemon, you were like 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
So
I was still with you then.
I guess so. Like I never really processed you playing Pokemon.
The last game I played, I believe, was actually Legends Arceus.
Oh, I still have not played that.
Damn fun game.
That is a game that.
But it's also busy work, the game.
It's not so
Yeah.
much
Like
that.
Zodiac Age.
It's not so much that. And this is me like with my. This is unfortunately this is kind of like. This is surface level shit, and this is entirely on me. I think the game looks hideous. Like I don't like the way the game looks.
That's fair.
Fair.
I think the frame rate's awful. I think the environments could look a lot better, and that kind of takes me out of it. I fuck with the game mechanically and fundamentally, but it's like that goes a long way if I'm going to be investing a long time looking at this world. And maybe it's something that is like you just stop noticing when you start playing the game and all that.
Kind of,
sort
yeah.
To be fair, that's kind of
In
where
my case,
Pokemon is right
Yeah.
now.
yeah, I was there with Scarlet and Violet. I mean, still unbelievably fucking broke it to the point of near unplayability, but at the same time, damn it all, if it wasn't a fucking good time watching my little pink gremlin slam things with a giant
Absolutely,
hammer.
yeah. And that's the important thing at the end of the day. It's just that is a main reason why I still have not played the first Legends game, because we got the ZA game coming out.
Yeah.
soon,
So
too.
I started playing it, and I don't know, I got a couple hours in. I was like, I just don't care.
Yeah.
Well, also, last part, I didn't finish my thought about the GameCube.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly,
Well,
yeah,
we're gonna...
we're gonna continue
yeah.
the Switch 2
So-
discussion. So
Yeah,
So
'cause what
anyway-
else is there to talk about?
So,
PlayStation games?
Other than this.
hold on. Here's what I was gonna say.
You died?
Like, shut the fuck up. Listen. Just hear me out. When the Family Guy Simpsons crossover happened, right?
yeah.
You're like thinking, "Wow, we're doing this now." I feel like this should have happened a while ago.
Yeah.
That's what the GameCube NSO announcement was like.
Like it's appreciative, but it's also like, why wasn't this done earlier?
Exactly.
Like I think as early as the Wii U, I think it should have been done.
I wonder if there is a technical reason, but I kind of feel like I think they just wanted to.
Maybe.
You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if it was the multiplayer issue.
Like
I'm wondering if getting the because the multiplayer stuff on the NSO. I don't know if you guys how much you guys have tried it.
we played Amazing Mirror on the GBA.
And you know what? You just used air quotes when you said that, and that's
Yeah.
kind of the point.
Yeah.
Is that if the multiplayer up to this point hasn't been super great,
Yeah.
how was F-Zero GX gonna work?
Yeah,
That was never gonna work.
assuming. Yeah, but I don't think F-Zero GX had online connectivity in the first place.
But it does
I
now.
forget.
It will.
That's
yeah,
what I
now,
mean. Is
I'd
that
imagine
it's
so. I
going to
don't know
work
how
now.
I don't know how that would work, though.
And that's my point. Is
Yeah.
that I wonder if one of the reasons is that for the multiplayer aspects, from a technical standpoint, it probably just wasn't going to work well
Yeah.
on the Switch.
But we
God
also
knows it
don't.
would've been
But
terrible.
here's the thing, though. We also don't know about the Switch 2's online infrastructure yet.
Yeah,
We-
I
and
think it's
when,
going to be
like,
better. They're finally not using.
Windows 7.
Yeah, they're
it
not using
fucking
Windows
better-
98 anymore.
It fucking better be.
They went to
That's the
Windows
thing,
Vista.
dude.
It's Vista.
My God, they
We're
upgraded.
going to dawn.
I want it to be better. I'm not getting my hopes up because I have been burned countless times through several generations of Nintendo consoles that their online is just not good outside
Yeah.
of Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I'd say Smash Bros. I know.
I've had more than a few
I don't know
Smash fuck
where
ups.
are you playing on?
Yeah,
what the
not-
fuck?
not Smash Brothers. absolutely.
I've never had the significant issue that everybody had with 4 or with Ultimate.
I did.
Brawl?
Count your blessings.
Yeah, Brawl, disaster.
Yes.
Brawl, absolute disaster. But I don't know. I played the Wii U one, and I thought that it worked relatively well. I didn't really have any, like,
Because
put it this way.
nobody was really playing on a Wii U.
No, I played tons
kidding.
of it on
Nothing,
the Wii, online
nothing will
on the
ever
Wii
be
U.
as bad as Brawl. This
Yeah.
is true.
Yeah.
Brawl was the worst
I
of it.
feel like people
But
have this
damn,
impression
man.
like, oh my god, every third game I disconnect out. We've had community days
but
where we
they
play it for
do.
hours at a time, and we never have a problem.
I've never had a community day with Smash Brothers where I didn't have at least one communication error.
Oh, we've had some of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've had
that's-
plenty of
yeah.
those.
Like-
no. I mean, we've had
Yeah.
plenty of days
Like
where there were no communication
Ultimate's
errors.
online was better.
Yeah.
To say that.
Yeah.
But,
But-
what was your comparison point? Ultimate's Online was better than the other two? I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it is
definitely was, but
Yeah, same,
but it
but-
wasn't bad.
That's the comparison.
Yeah, but it wasn't
It's
bad.
still not
It
super
can be
great.
better, but I just don't think it was bad. I think I've played other games on other systems that have had significant problems. Games that the crashes or it disconnects or something. Like, I just don't think it's so dramatically worse. That's what I mean, is that I don't think everybody talks about it like it's this. If you try to play on, like, there's no point in paying for NSO.
Yeah.
Because what's the point? It's going to break.
yeah,
It's
come
like,
on,
no,
come on.
I don't think it works nearly as bad as you think it does.
Yeah.
Like, Splatoon had...
That's also very knee-jerk. Like,
yeah,
come on,
Splatoon had
like-
tons of problems, and it was still
there she
nowhere
is.
near as bad.
Splatoon, yeah.
goes-
Splatoon is also a good positive example because I rarely have like disconnect issues on Splatoon.
Splatoon 2 had a lot of problems for some reason. At certain times, it was really problematic. But
Yeah.
3
It
I
Was
thought
we
worked
on
great.
Windows XE? I mean, Emmy.
Yeah, and this is back when everything was on 98 second edition.
So I'm a little surprised at two things regarding the GameCube NSO lineup. One, Wind Waker. They just
Yeah.
dead ass giving us the original Wind Waker, which means I don't think they're ever gonna give us the fucking HD games again. Those are still.
Everybody says that, but
I don't
we've had
know.
that
Like
for
I
other
feel,
games.
I feel the trigger should have been pulled on that.
Oh, yeah,
while
I
ago.
definitely
now,
think
granted,
so.
I'm saying that and I realize I say, well, yeah, but so you also just realize that the GameCube NSO stuff should have been something that they did years ago too.
Yeah.
Never say never. But it's also like I'm surprised they gave us OG Wind Waker first without at least giving us, or at least the promise of giving us HD Wind Waker and Twilight Princess for the Switch or Switch 2. It's not just Wind Waker, Sunshine as well. Mario Sunshine is
Yeah.
part of that thing. And we already have like a widescreen HD version of it thanks to the 3D All-Stars collection.
Yes, but
you
that's
know?
not available anymore.
I wonder
That's
why.
true.
But another thing, no Smash Brothers Melee to go back to Smash Brothers. And I'm wondering if that was because maybe they're not sure of the online connectivity of the NSO, like for the Switch 2. Because if Melee is released on NSO and its online is terrible,
Yeah, exactly. which is why I think that they didn't pull the trigger on
Yeah.
the GameCube NSO.
Yeah.
Because imagine the GameCube NSO
Yeah.
online trying to run Melee. You would never work.
I still think that's not an excuse to at least not introduce it and then fix it when you get to the like fix things up when you get to the Switch too.
No, I see now, because now we're back to that territory where we are with gaming now, which is release broken games and fix them later.
No. I'm saying don't release it in the first place, Melee. I'm saying like because there's more games on the GameCube than Melee.
Yeah.
SoCal 2.
Soul Calibur 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
We already
Another
have HD
online
version
game.
of that one.
Yeah.
No, but no GameCube HD version though.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we get Link in HD. Nice.
Yeah. Like
You make it sound like that's not cool.
another thing, finally, because in terms of another games that were announced for
Yeah, the ones that they showed.
Fire Emblem Path of Radiance.
Path of
Yeah, I know, that
is
was fucking
huge.
funny
It's
to
gonna
get
be
that because it was
It's
like,
huge.
well, there goes the money. Oh, now I waste the money on too many games.
There goes the used game market for that, unless you're you're a real stickler for it.
That doesn't actually change it too much.
Yeah, but now you don't have to resort to like spending an arm and a leg, or emulating it if you don't.
Yeah, if you
like
just
an
wanna
actual
play
like
it.
an official version
Yeah.
of it.
if you just want to play it.
Chibi Robo for
I
that
still
regard too.
swear those guys look like Chicken McNugget guys.
Oh, we're back at that.
I was really hoping.
Sorry.
Was Custom Robo announced?
Chibi Robo.
Chibi Robo.
I didn't
Damn.
see.
No,
I didn't
But
see
no custom
No.
Robo, no.
No, I didn't see
no
Custom
custom,
Robo.
only chibi.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Pokemon also. Coliseum and XD.
Gale of Darkness, yeah, those are huge. Like those are huge gets for the NSO because those games are very expensive.
Damn.
Shit.
Rung your bell.
Like, hopefully Eternal Darkness actually goes on there too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind some of the earlier ones. Like
We
Eternal
could get
Darkness.
a Twin Snakes re-release.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge fucking deal because that game is still locked behind the original GameCube.
Piano 3.
Piano 3?
That was one of the Capcom 5 that,
Reminded me of Oni on PS2.
Right.
It's only on PS2 if the woman was a playable iPod.
I don't know what these games are.
She looks like something right out of a Macintosh
But
commercial.
and that's sort of the point is that everybody's talking about the really really big ones, right? I mean, listen, if we're going to talk about the really big ones
that perception's a bitch.
Yeah.
If we're going to talk about the big ones that I'm excited to actually get, it's a 60 frames Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door. if we're really going to start splitting
Yeah, that's
hairs
right.
here.
Because 1,000 Year Door on the Switch runs at 30.
It was
That's
30
so
FPS,
strange.
and I'm a frame rate snob.
certain games. If the game was I'm the kind of guy that I can play Sonic Adventure, the original, on 30 FPS because it was originally released 30 FPS.
Because you had it that way.
Yeah.
I want my frame rate consistent. Keep it 30, keep it 60. Don't give me one or the other. Don't give me one or the other.
You don't like unlocked frame rate.
But
basically.
okay.
Yeah.
So I always get a lot of flack for this because I'm an FPS snob.
Yeah.
30 is fine. I can play 30. I'm not one of these people that's like 30 is unplayable. But if you're going to ask me what do I prefer and where do I think games should be at this point, yes, I think that we're long past the point where there's no reason games should be at 30. I think that we should have been at 60 a long time ago.
Yeah.
As a standard. I don't think it's necessary.
Counter argument to though, there are some people that prefer 30 FPS because it does. I'm immediately reminded of my brother Mark. Loved The Last of Us to death, the original PS3 release. That was 30 FPS. So when they remastered it the first time out of 5, one of the first upgrades they did was 60 FPS, and Mark couldn't stand it because to him 60 FPS looked weird. It's like the argument.
A lot of people think that.
The argument was the same as how TVs nowadays have the digital motion enhancement on.
Yeah.
That fills in the frames, that sort of thing.
That's not the best version. There are native 120 hertz TVs, and then there's the digital enhanced version, which looks different.
Yeah,
we got to find the.
And that was a similar argument.
Which is
And I don't disagree because,
But then now you're just talking about is it a native 60 FPS game or is it upscale?
I'm also like just trying to support arguments as why people would prefer in 30 FPS because to some 60 FPS when the faster the more image per frame that they have to absorb on their eyes,
it can be overwhelming.
If I'm going to defend a 30 FPS for anything, it's just that sometimes 60 FPS makes you sick.
Yes.
There are games that I played when I was playing Doom. I streamed Doom. And I could only play it for about an hour and a half before I got sick.
Yeah.
Because I was so close to the screen and it was moving at 60 frames and it was making me actually physically sick.
I am an advocate for higher frame rates, not so much because of the image quality, but because of the control. Because higher frame rates mean there's more frames for your input. Yeah. And the more frames you have for input, the tighter your control is.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. For a visual standpoint, obviously 4K is technically better. It's just I'm also one of the. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
I think 1080p or 1440p are perfectly fine for me.
Yes.
But I will always prefer if going back to the Switch 2, the thing that probably made me most excited in that announcement was it's 4K 60 or it's 1080p 120.
120 frames, yeah.
There, I'm like, this is it. This is the system for me. Yeah. This is what I want because that's what I care. My main monitor
Wait,
at home
if you get sick off of 60, won't 120 make it worse for you?
Well, we're talking about other people that could be, not us personally.
Some games do, some games don't. Yeah. But I have noticed that higher than 60, actually, I feel better. Stuff like Doom
and
Eternal.
120 FPS really does fucking change it doesn't sound like much. I understand. You really got to see it in action.
I know there's
for
a lot of
yourself.
people that say I don't even notice the difference.
Yeah.
You notice the difference when you're playing a fast-moving game.
Yes.
That's when you notice. I noticed the difference in Final Fantasy 14.
14, yeah. 14.
Yeah, I put it on high frame rate. I got to 120. I was like,
you play that game for 60 FPS for years, and then you crank it up to 144p. Well, 144 frames per second, not P, like quality. That shit's blurry image.
Yeah, I know.
But you crank it up to 144 hertz, the difference is night and fucking day.
It's really wild.
And it's I can't go back to 60 FPS now. But it's one of those things that's impossible to describe. You just have to see it for
because
yourself.
You can't, and you can't even watch a video on it because if you go on YouTube and watch a video on it,
60
it
FPS.
scales it down to 60.
Yeah,
so it's not going to make, and your monitor is 60, so it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm just with Matt. I like consistency. Keep it 30.
Oh no!
Keep it 60.
Obviously, we're saying in the sense of all of this working. I mean, this is all irrelevant if it doesn't work. But if you can get a consistent 120 or a consistent 30,
Yeah.
which one are you going to take? You're going to take the 120.
Well, yeah.
On average. Sometimes
It depends on the game.
Yeah.
Again, it depends on the game.
Well, it's funny because when you
Because I
say,
feel like, as much as I would love to see it, 60 frames Ocarina of Time would feel weird as shit.
Played the PC decompiled version. You could
Well,
that supports 100.
Give me that for Saints Row 2,
Yeah.
and that Let's Play will come back.
Give it some time.
I don't know, because people said stuff like that about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and they looked amazing when they
It
were
looked amazing when
videos
they
of
were
those.
first released.
Yeah. Those are games that I can play 30 FPS or 60. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I think, like, I am going to wait for the Switch 2 enhanced version, though, for Tears of the Kingdom, because I still have not bought that game.
Same.
Yeah.
It's too much game.
It's not even, I think exactly what it is. Like, I don't have the time for the investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
know?
I'll be honest with you, as far as Tears of the Kingdom goes, they do a good job of telling you where you're going to go.
Yeah.
They give you a set of tasks, and you can decide what order you want to tackle them in.
They'll tell me where I want to
like
go,
Breath of the
but
Wild.
will I go where they tell me to go? That's the issue
what
that I have.
What I mean is just that
Yeah.
if you have a time constraint issue, it's easy for you to say, okay, they told me I need to track down 13 tiers. I know all I've got is an hour to
Goes
play. I'm going to go right after the tiers. You know, or I've got an hour to play. I'm going to explore a little bit. Like they do a good job of, these are the goals. You can beeline the goals, or you can explore.
Oh, I think you just punched an innocent penguin.
So,
Mario drops them off. And besides, they're getting tariffed too, so fuck 'em.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Anything else from the Switch 2 presentation?
No, my thing.
tons from the Switch.
Oh, Matt,
I wanted to
go
go
ahead,
back
Matt,
to.
go
I
ahead,
wanted
go
to go back to the Tears of the Kingdom
Yeah, go ahead.
thing. Now.
Okay, go ahead.
Like I said, the main complaint I had is that you have to fuse everything for weapons, and I know that doesn't seem like much, but I had to keep going in the menu, going to fusing weapon after weapon. After a while, that just got on my fucking nerves.
I made a bunch of
That-
them at once, and then I just had them ready
Yeah,
to
I
go.
did the same thing, but
Yeah.
it's also like this is just getting obnoxious after a while for me. That's just
I don't know, but
subjective thing.
then, but it's just like, that kind of becomes a problem no matter what, though. If your weapons break and you have to keep equipping weapons, it gets annoying. If you have to keep making weapons, it gets annoying. So
Yeah, but
the
I had to
alternative
constantly
there,
find and make weapons.
yeah.
so that was just
well, I mean, I don't know.
steps.
I don't think that it was. Put it this way: I never went and farmed weapons.
Neither did I, but I still
found them
found it
on the
annoying.
way of. I found them on the way of what I was doing.
Yeah.
neither did I,
Yeah.
but I still found it
Oh, I
annoying.
know, and that's fine. Nobody's saying you can't do that. It's just I didn't find it as intrusive as Breath of the Wild. I think it was a much better.
I thought Breath
system.
of the Wild was way less worse than that.
Really? See, yeah, I thought that was more intrusive because there were points where, I mean, for the most part, I never really found myself without some kind of weapon, but sometimes that weapon was a
I think
really
I think
crude stick.
I think the factor to consider though is how you approach these games, like because
Yeah.
Matt's saying that he finds it annoying, but Matt, you're the kind of guy that does everything in a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And that was the other complaint I
Yeah.
had. Like I said, at some point it was just too much game for
Yeah.
me. Ironically enough.
Well, that's
Breath of
definitely the
Breath,
case.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild was the sweet spot for me. Tears of the Kingdom, I was like, you know what? I want to say I'm done, and then there's one more thing I gotta fucking
Yeah.
do, and then there's one more thing to do, and that's my fault for being a completionist. But at the same time, it's
yeah.
also like,
Yeah.
I was kind of going to say that, like, the part of that, though, is that it's not really the game's fault. It's just that's how you approach the
yeah,
game.
and
So
I suffer
it
from
just
the
means that the game is not for you.
I suffer from
which
the
is
same.
fine.
I suffer from the same issue because like that's originally why I put down Rebirth 7.
Yeah.
Way too much fucking game, like especially compared
Oh,
to
Rebirth's game
Rebirth,
does not
yeah.
even. The amount of game in Rebirth does not even compare to Breath of the Wild.
I'm
Tears of the Kingdom.
just using it
Yeah.
as a comparison point to
No,
Remake, though.
but he's
Yeah.
saying that if you put down Rebirth because there was too much to do and you
Yeah.
felt like you had to do it all,
Yeah.
you don't even bother with Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Because there's a bajillion
I don't
things
know.
you can
I don't
do.
think. But here's the thing. I don't think I'd struggle with Tears of the Kingdom because I never, outside of Link to the Past and Majora's Mask, I never 100% any Zelda game. I
And you're not-
I don't feel the need to.
And you're not going to 100% these either.
That's what I'm saying. Like when I played Breath of the Wild for the first time for the review, anyway, I sure as shit did not 100% it because
Yeah.
it's like, dude, I don't want to, and I have other shit to do.
See, if you can control yourself,
know?
that's why we're
Yeah.
kind of going back and forth
But with
here because
with Rebirth though, because I love Final Fantasy a lot more than Zelda.
yeah.
I want to do all that stuff because like I love the lore, I love the world building, I love seeing number go up.
I mean, to be fair,
That was
I
great. That's why I love 12.
I 100%ed Rebirth, and
Yeah.
it was like
I almost
it was like,
did.
It was
I
like
still
90
haven't
hours.
done. I still haven't done the Gilgamesh stuff.
Yeah, and it was
The
it was
endgame
90
Gilgamesh
hours.
stuff.
It wasn't really that much.
Yeah.
And I know 90 hours sounds like a lot to some people, but I have games where I have thousands of hours in, so it's not really the same thing.
I got 200 in Zodiac.
Yeah, so it's not, but yeah, I wouldn't say now Tears of the Kingdom, I think I've got like 150 or 200 hours in.
I have that too.
And I'm not even anywhere near 100% in that game.
Okay. Let's go back to the Crash site real quick then.
Anything
yeah.
else?
Flux,
Anything from the Switch 2 event that you thought was super interesting?
Like
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong was a big one.
Yeah, that was a big one. I was not expecting them to make another 3D Donkey Kong came out because they only done it once. It was 64, and that was 26 years ago. I want to say. Wait, when did Donkey Kong 64 come out? Was that 99?
I want to say 2001.
But
I thought it was earlier.
But
I thought
no,
it was
it was after Tui, I believe.
I thought it was like 97
Either
or 98.
way, looks
because
interesting.
because it was the beginning of the expansion pack.
Yes, I think it was 99. I want to say it was 99.
Yeah, it was 99.
Okay. So yeah, I mean it's a pretty big deal in terms of like the longevity. Like when was the last time they did it? But also it looks great. Yeah. And honestly,
And
like,
also
I know people are kind of like mixed on like DK's new design that they introduced.
He has
I
pants.
love it.
with the hold on.
The pants are the least of the problem.
So the Mario Brothers movie was the first to introduce that Donkey Kong design, and like, I think the thing that I see like people misinformed on is that it's an Illumination thing. No, Nintendo gave Illumination that design
Yeah.
for use. So this is something that Nintendo wanted to do from the get-go, and it's Donkey Kong's new design, which I love. It's so expressive.
Yeah.
Like it's a good hodgepodge between the country
rare.
design, like the rare design, and the OG Donkey Kong
Right.
design, which is great. Like I love just how facially expressive this Donkey Kong is.
Oh, there's aggro.
Won't cause you any aggro.
There's your horse, Matt.
Yeah,
Woo!
there you go.
The fun time the horse comes up, you're not even looking.
I'm proud of you. You finally got the horse.
I mean, outside of
that's all
that, Prime 4, and I want to.
That goes without saying.
Yeah, that goes without saying. I want to get it on the Switch too
Then why'd you say it?
because it's a given.
What'd you say, John?
I want to get Prime 4 specifically on the Switch too because I've seen the comparison videos. It just it looks. I mean, not to say that the Switch release doesn't look great too, but it's like if I know it looks better on the Switch too, I'm gonna get it on the Switch.
Yeah, you bought Breath of the Wild on the Switch, even though it was on the Wii U.
Yeah, which is funny because I believe for a time the Wii U version ran better, and until the Switch got its updates.
Really?
Which is funny because the game was developed for the Wii U first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
it was.
I actually still have a Wii U copy, but it's not even opened yet.
You're going to retire on
That's
that.
probably going to be a
yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
Right. Put that on the pile with your Beanie Babies.
It might go for $106.
Ooh, 3 cents.
Uh-huh. Somebody's getting 2 toppings on their pizza tonight. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the event looked pretty good. I like the was that the event? No, that wasn't the event that we saw Gradius.
Oh.
That was the direct before.
That was the one before,
thing.
yeah.
The Greatest Collection. I was pretty excited for.
I mean,
I was about to say,
Metroid.
you just break a rock for the sake of breaking a rock.
Yeah, Metroid. Obviously,
Oh.
I like some of the
Lost
upgrades.
Void.
You probably want to start this. On
Yeah,
the next part.
we'll do this on the next part.
Yeah. But
But they confirm it's cross, not X.
whatever. Listen, even devs can be wrong.
If I told you to draw a cross, you would not draw that.
But we can't cross out our
Yeah, I know. You would say,
That's
where's
why
the
I
Jesus?
Yeah,
but we
Jesus is on his lean.
but we can't cross out our Patreon shoutouts.
Ooh, good catch.
All right, so we got more Patreon shoutouts for you guys with some pretty badass usernames. Lucifer's my bitch. One word. No, Bick. Because there's no T.
There's no T. Yeah.
There's no T. Albert, Logan DeKid, Braden Christiansen, RVGF or Vig. Guy Laume Cardinal, Nil Sujata, Chaos Master of Hampter, Temporary Meme, Mark Ferguson, Jostin Velez, and Pancake 13. Like I said, badass usernames. These are based as shit. Just big.
There's at least 2 of those that I need to look at that list and see what they're spelled like.
You'll see it when it gets to you.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time for more Astrobot.